You're tuned into a Q&A Network podcast. Bold voices, real stories, no fluff. It's showtime.
You're listening to the Open Books podcast.
Your next chapter starts now. This podcast is brought to you by Q&A Network.
Colby, between school drop-offs and snack duty, I barely have time to brush my hair.
Same, but it's a good thing we have a one-stop shop at Virgo Beauty Studio. 1 hour with them and you will be looking flawless.
Oh my gosh, the best. Moms, treat yourself. Book your self-care at virgobeautystudio.com. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Open Books podcast. Today we're stepping away from our usual book talk and our culture chat to share something that's really personal and something, that we're coming up on the 20th year anniversary. So as two New Orleans girls, Hurricane Katrina is one of those events that changed absolutely everything for us, our families, and our city. So like I said, this August, it's already 20 years. I cannot believe that.
That's crazy. It came so fast.
So fast.
Yeah, it did. To say I'm excited about this episode is tough because it's never something exciting to talk about, but I don't know about you, but I've never completely unpacked Hurricane Katrina before. I mean, we talk about it over the years. We reminisce, but to really break it down, it's kind of scary.
It is scary. And I think because now that we are adults, looking back on something that traumatic that we experienced as young kids isn't we didn't understand how extensive and how everything was just destroyed.
I know.
We didn't understand that.
No.
So
you're kind of it's weird because as a child, sometimes it was it could be fun or when we get into our experiences, for Matt, he's I had a ball. I was in Florida surfing, blah, blah, blah. Well, mine was a little different,
and that's a testament to his parents and our parents because I think they were trying so hard to mask what was really happening. This is just another day. We're on vacation. I think that's a great thing that families did.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we didn't understand.
And now when we're full adults and we're looking
back and reflecting on our experience, it's crazy.
Yeah. And for where we're from, a lot of our lives are categorized, and you'll hear this all the time. Before the storm or after the storm. Everything is, before the storm, my family lives here. After the storm, this happened. Oh, I used to have this house before the storm. Everything is categorized by this big major event. It's literally two different timelines of the universe for us.
Before the storm, I went to this school. After the storm, I went to this school.
Yes.
So it is absolutely crazy, but we're going to unpack our experience on today's episode.
Yeah. So, okay, before we wanted to get started, unless y'all Mets coming up, before we get started, that's kind of something I want to talk about too, because if we do have new listeners who aren't from the Southeast or whatever, Louisiana area, the Gulf Coast, you might not really understand, because I think a lot of times when you look at Hurricane Katrina, especially if you've watched a new documentary on, I think it's Hulu, right?
It is on Hulu, yeah.
We in Louisiana are separated by parishes, which honestly, before the storm, I didn't really know there was a big difference. I thought everybody used parishes, but I think it's counties that most states use. So when we're talking about Hurricane Katrina, we're talking about Orleans Parish and surrounding parishes. So that documentary focused a lot on Orleans Parish, I think because a lot of it was about what happened at the Superdome, which is in the heart of New Orleans. But we live in St. Bernard Parish, which is right next to Orleans Parish. Then they have Jefferson Parish, which is next to it on the other side. And then you have St. Tammany Parish, which is across Lake Pontchartrain. And then you have Algiers and other parishes that are on the West Bank is what we call it. So, there's another body of water. But it's all the same area. And if you're from here, you just say, I'm from New Orleans, because people who aren't from around here don't realize that we're all separated by parishes.
Right.
Now, where we live, St. Bernard Parish got directly hit by the eye of the storm.
Yes.
So there was complete devastation. In Orleans Parish, there was still pretty much everything was completely underwater.
This was basically categorized as the nation's biggest catastrophic event.
Yeah, 100%. And so when we're talking houses destroyed, we're talking where we live was completely under 20 feet of water for multiple days at a time. So not just the city of New Orleans, surrounding parishes. And there were spots in New Orleans that were fine, like the French Quarter. Not many, but some. Now in St. Bernard Parish, there was nothing. Everything was completely underwater.
Yep.
So speaking of that, like fact, I have a couple facts here before we get into our stories. So number one, Hurricane Katrina was one of the deadliest hurricanes in U.S. history, like you just said. It struck the Gulf Coast on August 29, 2005, and caused deaths of over 1,800 people. Most of the casualties were in Louisiana, particularly, there's that word.
Particularly.
Hate that word. New Orleans.
I'm having like heart palpitations
talking about this. I know. And that's why I feel like
we probably needed some therapy.
No, seriously. Maybe this would be it for us.
I hope so.
Mostly in New Orleans due to the levee failures that caused catastrophic flooding. I also just want to like pay homage and mention to Mississippi. Like there were places in Mississippi that also experienced devastation. I always see Mississippi people come and be like, what about us? We were there too. So I'm like,
no, it is true.
We see y'all.
Yeah.
Because that can be frustrating to hear about this and like not hear where you're from. So we hear you.
I mean, the Gulf Coast, like their homes were gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So second fact, levee failures were the biggest disaster. While Katrina was a Category 3 storm at landfall, the real devastation came from the levee breaches in New Orleans. About 80% of the city was flooded, leaving tens of thousands stranded on rooftops, in attics, and at the Superdome and Convention Center. Third fact, there was massive displacement and long-term impact. So Katrina displaced over 1 million people, the largest population displacement in U.S. history, aka us. We were part of that 1 million.
Yep.
Many New Orleanians, okay, never returned permanently, changing the city's demographics, economy, and culture. Entire neighborhoods, especially in St. Bernard Parish and the Lower Ninth Ward, were nearly wiped out. Again, we're from St. Bernard Parish. Number 4, historic coast and government criticism. The storm caused an estimated $161 billion in damages, making it the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history. The government's slow and chaotic response, especially FEMA's handling of rescue and relief efforts, drew national outrage and is still studied today as an example of failed disaster response, which just gives me chills because it's true. And like after watching the documentary, it's just such a shame how things went down, really.
So I just want to touch on that documentary. That documentary was the first documentary that I really sat down and watched as an adult, not at my parents' house and like watching in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I could not believe the footage that I was seeing. I think when it would play on the news, I wasn't watching as a kid. Like I just wasn't.
No.
I wasn't. I was playing,
right,
and doing 11-year-old things.
Right.
Like,
again, we were being protected by our families.
Protected. So to really see the way that people were treated, I was sobbing.
I know. Me too. Watching it was terrible.
Just like, especially with the young, like with the babies, like now being a mom, it has completely changed the way I see the world and I think of everything. Mm-hmm. So when they were talking about the babies and the elderly and just like protecting your family, we were so fortunate to be able to evacuate. And that just wasn't the case for everyone. I felt just insane emotions. Maybe it was emotions that I've just always had bottled up and I just never visited.
I think that's what it is. Because being from St. Bernard Parish, being from New Orleans, there has been Katrina remembrance ceremonies up until, I feel like at least in our parish, like the school board always did like big remembrance ceremonies pretty much every year. I remember doing the 10th year. I think maybe I was in high school for the 10th year.
They would invite us to
We got invited. Yeah. And it was always like this big thing. And I remember feeling like these intense emotions, but also kind of just like, okay, I can't think about it. Like I would just suppress it because what are you going to do? Like we're living our lives now. We're back. We're here.
It was just something that happened.
It was something that happened. But to really look at it as a whole and like as an adult, like you said, and to see the families that weren't fortunate enough to leave, didn't leave for whatever reason, it's so sad. And like I said, we're so blessed to be able to have evacuated and not been part of that aftermath. Because like some of the footage, oh God, it's just terrible. It'll make me emotional just talking about it. Because there's like babies being held out of windows and people are in their attics and they can't breathe and it's so hot. And then the Superdome, well, honestly, is one of the biggest like talking points of the documentary is what happened at the Superdome. How it ended up being like 30,000 people at this Superdome, okay? The sweltering heat of New Orleans.
And the Superdome was a point of last resort. I don't think they ever imagined how many people would be at the Superdome. Mm-hmm. And then when the flooding happened and people were trapped on their roofs roofs.
Yeah.
You know, in, like Colby was saying, the sweltering heat.
Inside their attic.
With babies, with the elderly. I know, like, the police and the
Coast Guard.
They were just like, okay, we got to find boats. They were literally like hot wiring boats to go save people. And they brought those people to the Superdome.
Right.
And then eventually they overpoured into the convention center. People were walking to the convention center. It's just to really think about, people were walking in the water.
Yeah.
You can't see. There are poles down with electricity in the water, and they're
People's
walking with
cars,
their children.
stop signs, broken glass.
If you haven't watched the documentary or you don't know much about Hurricane Katrina, highly recommend that's the one you go watch. There's so many. I watched one last night, Closed for the Storm. It was actually about Six Flags.
Really?
It was like an independent film.
Yeah.
It was definitely not the best documentary I've ever watched, but it was an interesting take on like Jazzland and Six Flags.
Right, because that's another thing, that we had like this booming amusement park, Six Flags, that just never came back. And if you're from here, you know, you drive past this like ghost land of this big Zephyrs ride. It's like iconic ride that was completely destroyed in Katrina and has never to been returned.
We'll be right back.
Want your business to be the next chapter on this podcast?
We've got listeners who love a good story and great products.
To advertise on our podcast, email us at openbooks@qananetwork.com.
Let's make your brand the plot twist everyone talks about.
So many things like that. Still 20 years later, you see the effects of Hurricane Katrina in the city and in your parish.
Something that really, as I was reflecting on my experience, that kind of struck me was that my mom would have been my age when Katrina hit. And so thinking about going through something so devastating and losing everything, I can't fathom. And so when I was talking to her and she kind of like gave me her story, you know, her and my dad just bought their dream house a year before. And then it wasn't gone, but it was gone in the sense of like the memories we've made.
Yeah.
You know, my mom and papa's house was gone. That was actually gone. Like nowhere to be found.
Should we get into his stories?
I guess we should.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
I know.
Okay, well, you go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. So just to kind of like paint the picture, I was 11 years old.
I want the full picture. Like, I'm sat.
You're sat?
Sat.
Okay. So for me, it was always pack enough for 3 days. And that stuck with me so much now. Like looking back, I just remember mom being like, all you have to pack is like 3 outfits, however many pairs of underwear, go pack. That was Friday or Thursday.
Well, they only gave one real day of mandatory evacuation.
So that must have been Friday.
Yeah. I think a couple days prior, you know, it had been talked about there's this big storm brewing, but that mandatory evacuation was a one day notice. So you must have got out a little bit before the mandatory evacuation.
Yeah. So it must have been that Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, because my dad was going to stay and my mom was begging him on the last day he could leave. That this was a once in a lifetime storm. That's how the news was saying. Like you cannot stay. So they did, thank God, end up meeting us. So as an 11-year-old girl, like packing up for 3 days, that stuck with me. We had just moved into our house 1 year before. I packed my bags and I remember laying out my clothes for dance team practice on Monday when we came back from our little weekend trip.
Yeah, for sure. You were going to come back to dance team.
I was ready to come back to dance team, you know, business as usual. I was so excited to finally be in middle school. So I was a 6th grader. I was on the middle school dance team. I went to PGT Beauregard. So I was like, I'm cool. I'm
that
shit.
girl. I'm that girl.
You know, I only straightened the top layer of my hair. I had like icy white eyeshadow I would wear. It's 2005, you know?
Dead. Yeah.
I was very much leaning into the middle school girl in 2005. Right. But some details I did find, they were kind of fuzzy for me. I don't know if you experienced that same thing.
I did. And I was going to tell you that too. Like, you're even explaining a little bit more than I really remember, but I was 9. So that's even further back. Like in my brain, my memory, I still remember for things from when I was 9, but main memory starts around like 14. It's like when I can specifically. Yeah, so like, even looking back at 11 is hard.
Yeah. So some things were fuzzy. Yeah. So if some things don't add up for your listeners.
Yeah.
For me, it makes sense in my experience.
Right.
If that
Also trauma and so much has happened over the years.
100%.
You can only speak to the feelings that you remember, really.
Yes. So we evacuated to Laurel, Mississippi.
Okay.
It's right outside of Hattiesburg. My family actually had a home there. So when I say we were fortunate, like I mean that. It was kind of used as like a weekend home. I think kind of what you were saying about Matt's experience, like it definitely felt fun at some times.
Totally.
But I knew it was bad at home. Like I know, like I heard my mom and dad talking and like I did see things, but like I didn't tune in, you know? But I remember returning whenever we were allowed to go home. So whenever they opened the parish back up, we went back to see things as soon as we could. And I remember looking around and just like, I just didn't take it in for what it was. Like there was the amount of mud that was everywhere and like seeing the water lines on all the houses. And on homes, like people went in and they would put the big X. And like on some brick homes, like that X still remains there. And that's when they went in to find bodies and see if people were there.
The fact that the X, you can drive around our neighborhoods and still to this day see an X on someone's house that the house no one ever claimed, whatever. A lot of the houses I think were demolished. So a lot of the X's are gone by this point. But it took a long time for all of that to clear up.
Yeah. The X's stay with me.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
so y'all went back to your house to see what's up, what you could salvage.
Yep. And obviously, like my brother and I had to stay like whatever room my mom and dad in, but everything was just kind of like, you could tell it like floated up, floated all crazy, came back down. But I remember when I went to go see my room, I was like, where's my dance team clothes? Like I really thought.
Yeah. You were coming back.
Everything's gone.
Yeah.
Completely underwater. And I'm like, wait, practice. Where's my practice uniform?
Yeah.
And it was still on my bed.
Wow.
So it must have like floated up and just like, when it finally came back down, it just
oh my gosh,
was still in my bed. Yeah, my mama and papa's house, that was gone, completely gone. So looking back now, I'm like, gosh, all the memories that were at that house, just gone.
And so many people's family photos. At that time, there was no iPhone.
No.
That didn't
There's no
exist.
cloud that backed up your stuff. Like physically, if you didn't take it with you, and I don't think anyone anticipated.
Lots of people did not take their pictures with them. You will hear in so many conversations, I lost my pictures in the storm. I lost from, all of our family, friends. I picture them saying it. Yeah, all my family photos gone in the storm. Because like you said, there was no iPhones, no iCloud.
No. And so we couldn't move back at that time, but we did come down periodically, to the house. So I ended up starting school in Laurel. I went to West Jones Elementary and I was pissed because I had to go back to elementary school.
Oh, did they do things differently in Mississippi almost? Were you like in elementary?
In that county, I was in West Jones. Okay. And
pissed. I was trying to go to friggin' dance practice. What do you mean I'm in elementary school?
What do you mean? Now I was in middle school. I'm not in junior high over here. That was out there. I'm like, what's a junior high?
Yeah, that's definitely like a Mississippi County thing.
So I had to go back to elementary school. I was very upset about that. But the school didn't have uniforms. I remember thinking that was really cool.
Ooh, that must have been cool.
So I did get to go pick out a few pieces, my brother and I, from Walmart. And we went to I remember going to like church donations and like getting stuff from there because we had nothing.
You had nothing.
We had nothing. We had 3 outfits. So
packing up for 3 days.
We came back to the parish, I think it was like maybe January of that year or 2006. So I went to S-Bus, which is St. Bernard Unified School.
I just want to say too, y'all, you're one of like a very specific community because you guys are part of that first round of people to move back home. We moved
back, yes.
People still haven't moved back home after Katrina, but it took years and years. It took my family 4 years to come back. Yeah. So you guys were back quick.
We came back, I guess, within like 5 months.
Yeah.
6 months.
Which is crazy. You're part of S-Bus, which I can't wait to hear about.
So I was still in S-Bus. I will say this was such an incredible experience for me. And that the teachers at the district came together to make that an incredible experience for their students. I had so much fun. Like school was fun because you were learning, but they were still trying to get like their shit together.
Right. They're like trying to build back a community off of nothing. So what was it? Wasn't it like trailers? Like there was no schools for you to go to. No buildings.
Everything was the trailers. And then as they started rebuilding, they rebuilt because they did not have the freshman academy yet. Mm-hmm. So once they got the school kind of like together, that was for high school. So 9th through 12th grade went into school. 6th through 8th grade was still in the trailers.
Okay.
So essentially, I went to Chalmette High from 6th grade to 12th grade.
Literally.
I was
crazy.
there forever.
Yeah.
But again, that's a very specific community of people that experience that.
Y'all came back quick. Like you were part of the very beginning rebuild of aftermath of Katrina.
And the yellow chair. So there's the yellow chair story that is still at Chalmette High School. That is because the principal, Wayne Warner, stayed for Katrina at school. Mm-hmm. And the yellow chair was used because Chalmette High was used as like a point of refuge for people that stayed too. So when they would bring people by boat to the second floor, they would step onto the yellow chair into the school.
Don't make me cry.
And the yellow chair is still there. I mean, it's just like, I know when we talk about Mr. Warner.
I know. I'm like, y'all, if you want to talk about like the true dedication of an educator and like a community man.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think that hits us because we're former educators, and to just see that type of dedication to your community is just
unreal.
It's beyond
This
me.
man is still the principal of this school.
So just like thinking back and reflecting, I think in terms of like, would we be friends if Katrina didn't hit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's something that a lot of people say, like, where would my life have taken me? Who knows?
I wouldn't have met half of my friends or half the people or had half of the memories. I wouldn't have maybe, I don't know what I would have if I didn't end up at S-Bus, because I would have just been like my little down the road. Like, I mean, I went to Sebastian Roy, which was like the best school, but it was so tiny.
Yeah.
You know, I think for high school, my mom was talking about sending me to Hannon. Mm-hmm. Like it was just a different world then than what it is now.
It is.
In some ways, I'm very grateful for the experience of rebuilding and coming back. I think it definitely made our community super strong.
It did. New Orleans people are so resilient and like have been through so much, but also so much was never the same.
Right.
It's so tough because I'm also grateful for it. But then you think about things that did change. Like I used to have a really big family community down here on my mom's side, and only half of us came back. Yeah. So many people stayed where they were or moved to the North Shore, moved to Covington or something like that. Yeah. So there's so much that changed because of the way we talk about that before the storm, after the storm. It's like, and you'll never really know what things might have been different.
And I wanted to share, so my mother-in-law.
Oh, yes.
She is, she just recently retired, but she's been a nurse and OR manager for forever, you know?
Right.
And so she was working at Charity during the hurricane. And just like some of the things that I know she went through. Mm-hmm. So when, you know, the flooding and everything started, she said that they had to physically carry patients up steps to get them with ventilators.
Oh, God.
So just like imagine the hospital setting.
Right.
And what the nurses had to do for their patients. She said she can remember chills. Like the amount of steps it would take to get up to the whatever floor. Oh, it was just up, down. She said she was in the same pair of shoes that like got wet and like still had to work
for days.
Yeah. And my father-in-law, he's a police officer, so he also stayed. Mm-hmm. So my husband, he would have been 8 at the time.
Yeah.
Evacuated with his older brother, and he didn't hear from his mom and dad for almost 2 weeks.
No,
he said he remembers just like waking up one day and like his dad was back.
I'm sick.
But his mom wasn't back yet.
That makes me want to cry.
And she was like, you know, she's helping people get on the buses and all of that. And she had to wait for a bus to get out herself. Mm-hmm. And then he said he remembers waking up one day and like his mom was back.
Oh my
gosh.
Like
for the longest, there was no communication. The phones were down. Like there was no like, let me send a text, you know?
Not a thing.
So his experience was like so wildly different than my experience. And like she was at Charity. I just think everyone's experiences are so different and
They
so
are.
unique, even though we experience the same
Right.
traumatic
At the end
event.
of the day, we experience like the same loss, but everybody's like
Yes.
individual experience. And I'm so glad you told that story because
Mhm.
that's another thing. It is talked about, isn't there? There's actually a Hulu like fictional show. I think it's called 5 Days at Charity, literally about that hospital and really all hospitals. That really, it really makes you think about how the first responders and nurses and doctors who were also trying to do their job were also people in the midst of losing everything,
Yep.
displaced from their families, from their children. Like, can you imagine how she felt that she wasn't with her son through this time?
No.
And she's trying to fight for her life. She's starving. She's without
Right.
AC. She's just
And
a
they're-
girl trying to
and
do her
they're
job.
First, like any first responder, the police officers that were there, like, of course you have your family, but then you still have your duty to fulfill,
I know.
which
Right.
is insane.
Yeah, that
to
comes
think about.
naturally to people like that.
Yep.
And the Hulu documentary did shed light on that, you know, how brave those people were and those officers were. But there was so much, I guess we could touch on this real quick too before I tell my story.
Yeah.
Because the documentary showed me a lot that I didn't even really know about
Me too.
the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like almost like neglect of the people in our parish in New Orleans of,
It was disgusting.
it really
I had
was.
no idea.
I didn't.
We wouldn't, though. We were so young. We wouldn't have known.
We were so young and like, right. Like our life after was about really like rebuilding. And for all these years, I really did avoid Katrina like the plague.
Me too.
Because it's a lot. It's like a lot of feelings that you don't really understand too, especially growing up. Because we were like at that age where we're growing up. So I just kind of avoided it. So this was my first time really locking in and like paying attention to what happened.
Yep.
And like the neglect of the government and not to get into any FEMA. And the politics of it all, that we'll never really know what happened behind the scenes and all. But I do know for sure that there were people who were completely just pushed aside, like they were just not human. And it's just terrible. The whole time I'm watching a documentary, I'm like, why can't they just simply ship down some crates of water from other places that have anything? Like there were just, these people were starving. There was no help being activated properly besides the people of their own community. The only saviors and heroes of the documentary are the people that are the first responders and citizens who did the right thing and helped and did whatever they could and gave their last piece of bread to a baby sitting next to them. It's like, where was George Bush with 10,000 helicopters full of crates of water?
Yeah, he said he just like flew over.
I don't understand. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And I know there's things that we'll never understand because we're not in that world of politics and how it all works. But to me, it does seem like a no-brainer. America is so bountiful and plentiful, and there's so much resources out there that why couldn't some crates of water be shipped? I don't get it. And I know it was an unsafe environment, but these are people's real lives. And then with the looting and all of that, it's a very touchy subject, and innocent people definitely lost their lives. But you also have to think too, like, wouldn't you go crash into a Walgreens if you had a baby with no formula for 4 days? 100%.
Yes,
I would steal formula, sue me. Like,
I would.
Right. There's so much that goes into it. And after so long, without proper sleep, without proper oxygen, because you're so hot and you're stuck in this Superdome, like, people do start to go crazy. They do act up. And a lot of that is not their fault. It's circumstantial. You know, fights broke out, violence was had.
Well, the police chief that he even said, like, I did say that there was a sniper.
Right.
Because after being in these conditions, I think he said he served in the military too.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I said it. Because that is what I believed was happening at the time.
Right.
Now, again, I don't know. I'm not getting into it. But I can also see, like, what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're in these terrible environments. Your
Chaos
mind's
will
going to start.
ensue.
Yes.
Chaos will ensue, and it did. And so it just feels like the city was definitely failed in more ways than one.
The city was definitely failed.
And so was St. Bernard Parish, and so was Jefferson Parish, and everybody was.
Mishandled.
To an extreme.
All across.
Right.
You know, the where it struck. It just was
everywhere.
Mishandled.
Right. It really was. So I wanted to touch on that because that is something that I didn't.
I'm glad
knew people
that you brought
talked
it up.
about. Yes, and like I knew people talked about it, like the travesty of the Superdome and the people that were stuck. But again, I just never really gave it that much energy. Right. So and I don't want to give it much more energy after that because I can't, because we have to live in the now. You know what I mean? But I think it's worth it to really honor those moments because
We
they
have
were
to.
real.
We have to, because I think that's also what has propelled our city forward too.
To be so resilient, truly.
Mhm.
So, okay, my story
Let's
is,
hear it.
it's similar to yours in the fact that, well, I was 9, so I was a little bit younger, and I wasn't necessarily middle school age. I was still elementary age. I think it was in like 3rd or 4th grade. We were actually in the process, this is when my mom and dad were still together. So we were in the process of actually moving to Picayune, Mississippi. For whatever reasons, we were going to move there. My mom still had we still had a house in St. Bernard Parish. My mom still had her job in St. Bernard
That's
Parish.
so interesting. I did not
I know.
this.
It's a really weird part of the story that me and my mom are always like, it was just like this crazy anomaly that we were already going to move. So the storm's coming or whatever. Same thing I was told as you. Like, we're going to pack a bag.
A few outfits.
Yes. So my mom has family that lives in Texas, like very close family. So my mom's dad and my mom's mom met like randomly in Texas in like the 70s and like had my mom. But then like that was it. So she has like whole other life in Houston, Texas, that she would go spend her summers there because she has a whole nother family there.
Oh my God.
Which is crazy.
How romantic.
I know. for the time.
For that.
And she's very lucky because we love our Texas family.
Yeah.
But like completely whole different life over there. So we were lucky because we have aunts, uncles, grandparents. I have a grandparents who live there. So we went to my grandma's house, which is actually my mom's grandma. She's my great grandma, but everybody calls her grandma. She's still alive today too. She's like fabulous. She's 90.
Hi, grandma.
90 something.
Yes.
Yeah. So we went to my grandma and grandpa's house. But my dad, my real dad at the time, stayed back. A lot of my family stayed back. My Mama Rose and Gramps, which is my dad's mom and dad, and my Paran, all stayed back in St. Bernard Parish. But we left. So, and this was just me, my mom, and my little brother. So I was 9. My little brother was, I don't know, probably like 6. So he was really young. The crazy thing is, talk about daddy issues. My dad, okay, we didn't have lots of money at the time. My mom had like $300. This part of the story just like gets to me because it's tough to hear, because when you think about your parents and what they went through.
They were our age.
Yeah, exactly. So terrified, obviously. She's like, I'm taking the kids and I'm going. He wouldn't come, whatever. So she had like $300 to her name. He spent it all on groceries for himself to stay. So she was with me and my little brother.
No money.
No. She had what she had, and to do what you got to do. She made it work. And the thing about our parents is, I had no idea. How do I know? I'm happy.
They would never let us know.
Never.
Never.
I'm so blessed to have her as my mom because I was just like, oh, great. But to know, how much your parents go through to protect you. So she was silently suffering, but I did have an uncle who came with her because he was like, being the hero of her story.
Like you can't go by yourself.
So he went with her. We went to Texas. I remember the same as you. Like, I remember being like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, I'm with my, like, evacuating a Texas family, whatever. But it still felt very, like, I remember the eerie feeling of, like, we didn't have much. I remember it being on the news and hearing, like, oh, this is, like, a really big deal. Like, it seems like everything's, like, gone, devastated. So then I was a very empathetic child. So here's where my story comes in for you. Well, first, let me just, I want to end this with a surprise for you. But when my mom's telling me the story, I was very...
I don't need to be smiling like a weirdo.
No, because
I just need to know what this is.
Okay, so y'all, I told Amber I'm surprising her with something in this episode. And you'll never guess what it is.
I have no idea.
But I have to give you the full context before I can end the episode with this, okay? So I was a very empathetic child. Still a very empathetic person, but I was very, like, emotional and in tune. So I was feeling things very deeply when we were out there. Maybe because I knew my dad was still home and I didn't really understand my mom and dad's dynamic at the time. Like, I was going through that. So we decided to stay in Texas for like a couple months. I went, same as you, I went to a school there. Like, I remember having nothing, like people donating clothes. And luckily, though, we had a lot of family out there who helped us and we stayed with them and gave us whatever we needed. So I went to a little school out there. It was called Feast Elementary. I remember it.
Feast,
yeah.
How cute.
Yeah, it was such one thing that I want to mention too is like most places were very welcoming to like New Orleans refugees.
Yes. Which
in our experience,
and very grateful for that.
Yeah, me too. And
like I still remember friends from that time.
Me too. Yeah. So I remember feeling very welcome there, and then we ended up going back to Picayune. So we didn't come back to Chalmette or St. Bernard Parish or New Orleans for about 4 years. We went back to Picayune. My mom and dad were together still, and then I started like my middle school life in Picayune, Mississippi. So I was like a little Mississippi girl. But, I remember being like the girl who was from Hurricane Katrina. Like I remember like that was like our thing. And I wasn't the only one. There were other people there because Picayune's not very far from like New Orleans. So I remember, but I loved it. Like I had the best friends. And like I said, I was there for, I would say 4 years, maybe 3.
That's like an established time.
It was. So that's part of where like the trauma of my story kind of comes in, because I was there enough that was like, oh, this is where I live now. Like this is my home. I was there
you
for
had to leave.
Yes. So I was there for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. That's what it was. So it was like my 8th grade year. And I had, again, this was my home. I had my best friends. I still have some of my best friends, like my best friend Cassidy.
Yeah.
Literally my best, like you kind of grow up with those middle school friends. Like that's who you were with. Whenever I made, just speaking of like the friends you made, whenever I made that story on TikTok for people to send in their Hurricane Katrina like stories, one of my Mississippi friends commented and said, well, I'm thankful for Katrina because it gave me one of my closest childhood friendships. So it's me. Yeah. So I was like, but it shows that that was like my life was Picayune, Mississippi. Then it was time to move home. Like it was just for whatever reason, my mom, it was time to move home. It just made the most sense. All of our family was back. She had her job that was in Chalmette. She was commuting back and forth and it was just too much. It just made sense. But for me, it was very traumatic because I was leaving my life.
How dare you make this decision without consulting me?
How dare you? And at the time, my mom and dad were getting a divorce. So I was just going through, bitch. I was just like, I remember that time being like,
this too much.
I remember like it being, you're so dramatic at that age. And this was also the age of Justin Bieber like emerging. So
I'm going to marry Justin Bieber. I'm going to leave all of you.
Yeah, and I was so upset. Okay, I just have this like memory of this Justin Bieber song.
Is this the funny part?
No, but this is kind of funny. I have this memory of a Justin Bieber song, Down to Earth. If you're a Justin Bieber fan, you know. It's literally like talking about his mom and dad's divorce. And I remember like singing it all the time and I was like, and then that day they let me say goodbye to my Mississippi friends. Like so dramatic. I'm thankful for it, but Cassidy, hope if you're listening, I know she is. We had this very distinct moment. They let me go back to the school, tell everybody bye, and we just like hugged in the classroom and cried. I thought my life was literally over. But then obviously,
that is a big deal though, because you do make such a you form such a relationship.
I was homecoming queen at PRC Mississippi School. Like
baby, you were sad.
Baby, I was in it.
You were in it.
I was part of the community. Now there were some girls out there, like I remember some little Mississippi moms that were like definitely said comments like, why are we giving the homecoming crown to a Chalmette girl, a New Orleans girl? Like she's not from here. That was a thing. But
haters.
They were just being haters.
They were being haters.
I got it. But anyway, just kidding. But that is true. Goes to show that I was like definitely part of the community.
Yes.
Anyway, I moved back home and it ended up being great. Like I went to Trist, 8th grade. Obviously now have my best friends. So like I slid back in very naturally to our culture over here. But
the culture was so different. Were wallabies a thing when you were out there?
No, what's a wallaby?
Maybe Laurel was like different as well. I remember, so everyone wore wallabies. Let me just...
Please show me. Is it like a bracelet?
No, baby, it's a shoe. It's the brand, but it's this type of wallaby.
So I remember like at this time, it was like gauchos and potato shoes.
Yes, and the sequins.
Yes.
And... For sure.
Limited to.
Now, maybe this is very specific to
Laurel, Mississippi.
But like everybody was wearing these. So I had to have them.
Naturally.
So my mom like, okay, let me see how I can get you these Clark Wallabies. They were like the Sperry of Laurel.
Yeah, because Sperry's were like very big during that time. I'm trying to remember.
Colby. I really wore these.
I'm scared.
With jeans. With skinny jeans.
It can't be worse than the gauchos and like the monkey limited 2 shirt.
No, it is.
That was kind of a sleigh.
No, it's kind of a sleigh. Like that's kind of coming back. Like cutesy Y2K.
Yeah. No. Y'all.
Can you see that? Let's zoom in.
$150.
And that's now.
Oh my God.
I don't think they were that much then. I don't know, but my mom was like, we're gonna make it work.
That's tough.
They're terrible.
Are they
But
heeled?
I wanted to fit in. Yeah. I was rolling ankles. I have really weak ankles. They're kind of like made out of rubber though. Like they're very resilient.
Just like New Orleans.
Not comparing my ankles to the
Those are tough.
They're bad. That was bad, but yes.
That's an hilarious side note. I've
Just
never
had to,
seen those. Okay, so Picayune.
There's a reason you didn't see them.
Picayune wasn't on the Wallabies, but we were definitely like.
Because they're a little closer to.
Yeah. We were ugly, for sure. Like I was in my ugly phase during this time. But we moved
Me
home.
too.
And it was fine. Like I, transitioned my way back into this culture. But I remember it being a very big shock. But here's my story for you, okay? So remember I said we were in Texas. I was 9 years old.
Am I allowed to have... I guess I gotta know. Sorry.
You want to guess?
I'm jumping ahead. No, I don't even know how to guess.
Okay.
I'm just like, if I laugh, I don't want it to be inappropriate.
There's no way you're not going to laugh. Because I've always remembered this about my story. Again, it's another thing I suppress because I'm like, it's too much. First of all, it's extremely embarrassing.
You shit yourself?
No. Okay. I wish I shit myself instead of this. Yes.
I was like, you shit yourself at Feast Elementary.
No. I might have, though. Okay. So I was 9 and I was extremely empathetic, emotional, like really feeling the weight of Hurricane Katrina. So I also was obsessed with Kelly Clarkson. And you know that song? It was like a very popular song at the time. How does it go?
Behind these hazel eyes.
Yes. Here I am once again. I'm torn into pieces. Can't deny it. Can't pretend. That song was always playing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I was in the bathtub just really upset. And I was singing the song. And I was making my own lyrics to this song. But I was making it Hurricane Katrina coded.
You remember it?
Not only do I remember it,
video?
I have the audio of it.
You have it with you right now?
Yes. So here's the story.
This is an
You're going to die.
OPB exclusive.
So I'm 9 years old in this audio, okay? I was singing this song in the tub and my mom, so I asked him, like, how did this happen? So basically everyone in my family has a CD, okay? And it's literally of me, 9 years old, singing about Hurricane Katrina. My family thought
it was the best thing.
The best thing. They thought I was groundbreaking, okay?
Where's Kelly herself?
No, Kelly needs to see this. She needs to.
I hope she does see this.
I hope she does see this because her song stuck with me so much. I rewrote her song, literally same tune, but I rewrote it. And the song is literally, it's very literal. It's about Hurricane Katrina.
It's very literal.
So for the longest time, I was
I'm in Texas.
You're going to die. So they thought, no, literally my nanny, everybody, they were like, this is amazing.
We had to end on this note.
No, we had to. They brought me to a recording studio.
You're lying to me.
You're lying. To a recording studio.
Colby.
But think about it, because I was talking to my mom and my nanny. I sent it to them like,
That's why you're so natural on a podcast, Mike. You've been around here before. Somebody cooked here.
Someone cooked. Well, I sent it to my mom and nanny. I'm like, why did y'all make me do this? My nanny was like, this was the best thing we had ever heard. Like, are you kidding me? You were so precious. You were so, like, sweet. And it was, like, everybody, like, was so emotional about the song because it was, like, it was happening in real time.
And you're releasing it for the first time to the public on the 20th.
So I remember all these years people would talk about, like, my song. And finally, people stopped talking about it. But I knew that it still existed. So it's literally on my parents' YouTube. I'm not telling y'all it's YouTube. That's so nobody can go listen.
I'll put it in the show notes.
This is how big of a deal, though, they thought it was. Like, he posted on his YouTube. I have an album cover. It's my old, like, it's my Mississippi picture. Wait, you can't really see it in this picture, but I'll show you. So it's called Pieces. Okay, I'm about to play it for you.
This is incredible.
No, you're gonna laugh because it's so funny because I'm 9. So you hear a 9-year-old voice. But think about, like, Blair. If she was 9, you'd be like, this is genius. No, she's so smart.
I would be, like, on the Today Show with her. Like, showing up, knocking on the door, uninvited. Put my baby on.
That's how they treated me. And my mom said, like,
this is actually really sweet. Like, I'm making jokes, but this is really sweet.
It is, and it's actually really sad. She said that they would, like, I would sing it to family members and everybody would just cry because it was like, well, it was such an intense time. When you hear the lyrics.
This makes so much sense to me.
About, like, just my life in general. It kind of, like, sums it all up. Yeah, like, it does. It does. It's something you had to know about me. So I'm going to play it for you, but it's so fucking funny. Now, granted, we're going to laugh.
But I'm empathetic too. Like, am I going to cry? I might cry.
No, you might cry. It's when you hear the lyrics, it's so sad.
I'm thinking about if Blair were to write a song after a traumatic.
And think about, like, I was 9 and this is how I felt. Okay.
I used to think yesterday was always like tomorrow.
That's deep.
But then you told me dreams fade away. Last night I had a nightmare, but I was so far from scared. And now I don't know what to do.
Didn't know what to do.
Then as I awoke, I had a feeling inside that the fear of reality might be real.
It's pretty deep.
First you came, then you went.
Talk about a storm.
Now I have not a clue where my life has gone. You picked me up, you put me down, you spin me everywhere, round and round. You tore me into pieces.
I got a second verse.
I feel like I'm locked up in a little cage. I'm feeling a change.
So cute.
The feeling is strange. I wanna get out and I wanna go home.
Okay.
First you
Stop.
then you went, you told
All right, that's enough. Because I sang the chorus the second time. Those
Colby.
lyrics.
But to think about a little 9-year-old girl writing that,
Yeah. No, I know.
it's actually intense.
I know.
You said,
I want to get out and I want to go home.
last night I had a nightmare,
But I was far from
but
scared.
I'm far from scared.
Because my fear of reality is real.
Real.
So I was literally 9 being like, my real life is scarier than my dreams right now.
Than my literal nightmares.
Yeah. Because of Hurricane Katrina. Because I was away from home and everything.
So I
So
want to go home.
that's...
And I feel like I'm in a cage.
Yeah.
That's actually really big statements.
I know. But like, to hear my 9-year-old voice, I'm just like, whoa. It's like, feels really like Matrix-y.
I know that has to be weird to hear yourself.
It's super weird. But again, that was like the biggest deal for my family. Everybody played it all the
but
time.
I can see why. I can definitely see why. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
It's crazy, right?
It was probably too, like, you know how they probably, like you said, like it always came up, but like behind the scenes, away from you, they probably unpacked that song so much.
They did. My mom's like, we all remembered the lyrics. We all were like, whoa, this is so crazy. Like, because it was real. That's how everybody felt. So I had to end it on that note to be like, yeah, that's what we went through. So be nice to us.
Be nice to us. Listen to our podcast.
Give this a like because we went through Hurricane
Please
Katrina.
leave us a review and listen to this entire episode. We went through Katrina.
Feel bad for us.
Okay, but
Just
that's how we
kidding.
literally we use dark humor.
Yeah, we have to.
We have to.
But I was glad to unpack this. What about you?
Yeah, I feel lighter.
Yeah. Something we
I've actually never really unpacked it
no. So
publicly.
But it's 20 years later, so it felt like it was a necessary thing to do. And like, y'all should come to New Orleans because there's no place like it.
There really
we're
isn't
very,
any
like-
place like it.
No, we're proud to be from here. And our city's been through a lot, so we're very proud of it.
And we love it.
Yeah. So thank y'all for listening to this.
Thank you so much. I'm sure you were probably like, whoa,
That was a lot.
I wasn't expecting that.
If y'all want that song, like I might release it.
It's an open books
Yeah.
exclusive.
I might stream it on Spotify.
on Apple.
It's called Pieces. No, but for real,
Pieces.
everyone, we should send that to Kelly Clarkson so she
We
can
should.
know how much of an impact she had on me at 9 years old.
Tag Kelly.
In 2005.
Tag Kelly Clarkson.
All right, well, follow us on social media. TikTok is at Open Books Podcast. And follow us on our personal social media, too. It'll be linked on our page.
Yes. And before we go, we do have our next on the shelf. So back to our little book, So the last time we were here, we did mention to you guys that we were reading The Woman in Suite 11.
Yes.
And originally we had thought that you did not have to read the book that was the first in the series, and that was The Woman in Cabin 10. We were wrong.
We stand corrected.
We stand very corrected. We actually started reading that book and we were like, what? You really had to know the characters, and I think that would make the book hit a lot more. And unfortunately for us, we
didn't.
We DNF'd it.
Yeah. And we wouldn't have felt right judging the book or really breaking down the book without having read the first.
We couldn't give an accurate analysis if we didn't understand the characters and therefore it would make us not like it.
Exactly.
It would skew our opinions. So we are actually going with Karen Slaughter's new release, and that's We're All Guilty Here. We actually did a podcast episode on Pretty Girls, which is one of our most memorable episodes that we
our
did.
Second book too.
And it was Karen Slaughter's writing is very graphic and detailed. Very detailed. So we are back with that. So we have, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Let's hear it.
So, welcome to North Falls. It's a small town where everyone knows everyone, or so they think. Until the night of the fireworks, when 2 teenage girls vanish and the town ignites. For Officer Emmy Clifton, it's personal. She turned away when her best friend's daughter needed help, and now she must bring her home. But as Emmy combs through the puzzle the girls left behind, she realizes she never really knew them. Nobody did. Every teenage girl has secrets, but who would kill them for it? And what else is this town hiding? So again, that is...
We Are All Guilty Here?
Thank you. We're All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter.
Yeah.
Our
Read
next
that
on the
one
shelf.
with us, y'all.
Please do.
Yeah. If you like thrillers, you will like anything that Karen Slaughter writes. So,
Yeah, she's a great author.
yeah. We Are All Guilty Here. Read it with us. Send your thoughts. That way we can chat about them. All right. I think that's it. Love
See you
y'all.
soon. Love you.
Bye.